You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes. Episode 83, episode 83. It's hard to believe that we're already to 83, but without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from what? Is it? Oh, no Shield tonight, unfortunately, but I believe he's got a wedding to go to, so I think that's what the Shield's doing tonight. But the good news is I got someone to fill in. The bad news is that he's a Ricky Rubio apologist, and we'll probably be talking about that at some point here during this broadcast. But anyway, we welcome to MinneZona Sports Live. Again, this is like the third or fourth time that he's been on. It is Cole Munson. Cole, welcome back to the show, my man.
Hello, guys. Hello. Thank you for all the applause.
I gave you applause. Yes, I gave you applause.
Thank you.
You can't
for all
hear
the
it.
applause.
But we gave you what you wanted. You have it. Here it is. We're going to have some fun with tonight. But are you ready to be taken to the woodshed, or are you just you're just fine with me rolling all over you tonight? What do you got?
Oh, I got something cooked up for you, Matt. I got some stuff cooked up for you here. Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Hey, who calls you the Rock? And then no one calls you the Rock. Money Months. Yes, I've heard this. Okay? Hunter saying Money Months. I've heard that. But
it's money time, baby.
I've never heard you be called that, the Rock. First of all, there's only one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but before we get into this, by the way, we've got a couple things that. Well, first thing we got to address before we get to Tater Tot, hot take. We got to look at our Pick'em leaderboard. And, Cole, it's not looking good for you. Let's be honest. No, I'm just kidding. Let's take a look. Our two leaders, I should say, for this, for our Pick'em here, Jack Vickers with 57 points. And then Ryan with 57 as well. This is our leaderboard so far. I'm creeping up there. I'm getting up there. But as you can see, Cole Munson is he's working his way. He's working his way up there. I don't know. He's going for the bundle, but I don't know if he's gonna get it. I mean, I think it's possible, but it's we'll see. How are you feeling?
It's been a rough year of picks. It's been a real rough year of picks. I was very Steeler heavy going into the year, and Big Ben decided to not play football, essentially, for all intents and purposes. So it's been just not a great year of picks in general. Also, Titans, what happened? Not this week, but last week.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You lost to the Jets.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's an embarrassment.
Nothing you can do about it. So that's just how we're gonna put it. But anyway, we got three Tater Tot hot takes tonight. It involves obviously the Vikings, and then we're talking the Wild play tonight. I believe it's going to be great. I can't wait. And then the Wolves. Obviously, we're talking Wolves because we have you on. We have to talk Wolves because if we don't, well, I don't know what we're doing then. But anyway,
I'm not letting you get out of here without talking some Wolves.
Yeah, and then we have Infinity Rankings tonight. Usually, it's just me doing Infinity Rankings, but this time. Cole's got his own Infinity Rankings. We are ranking the top, the 6 keys to the Wolves to be successful this year. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that as well. But anyway, Cole, let's get into some Tater Tot. Whoa, hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Cole, we start off Tater Tot Hot Take with, I don't know how to feel because it was a disaster averted in the lower third, as you can see right now, for the Minnesota Vikings. There's a lot to unpack here, and we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. So that's the main thing. But there's a couple things that we need to address. Is one, the way that how things went. Two, that they shouldn't have been in that position, and three, the interaction between Zim and Kirk. So I think we're going to hit on both of those. But Cole, I need to get your overall thoughts on the game this past Sunday and what transpired, and then we'll get into kind of the good details about, or the juicy details about what the hell happened at the end of the fourth quarter there. So, Cole, what are your thoughts? Take it away.
All right. So we're going to start with some positives here because I like to be a positive show, and I like to start off on a positive point. Justin Jefferson showed out.
Yep.
He absolutely showed out. He burnt the Lions to a crisp, and he showed why he is a top 5 receiver in the league. Between him, Adam Thielen did not have a great day, but my goodness, Adam Thielen came in the clutch. Absolutely 2 fantastic catches near the end of the game. One to get them out and get them going on that last second drive. Another one to get into field goal range so that they could spike the ball and kick that game-winning field goal. Absolutely fantastic job by the 2 receiver duo. One of the best duos in the league, in my opinion. Kirk Cousins, you got to take your hat off to Kirk Cousins. That was a fantastic last drive. Going up into that point, maybe it was not the best game for the team overall, but when his back was against the wall, when his team's back was against the wall, when his coach's back was up against the wall, I'll get to that point later, he stepped up in a big way. He made some plays, 3 very key throws that got them into field goal range, which then leads right into Greg Joseph. Gotta give a round of applause for Greg Joseph. I know he missed that 49-yard kick just before, but making that 54-yard field goal with the kicking history that we have, it is absolutely fantastic to have a kicker that can make that field goal, and it provides a whole lot of confidence going forward. And actually, the kick before that, he made a 55-yarder. So, fantastic job by Greg Joseph. Honestly, it saved the Vikings season, I think, right there by making that field goal. And finally, my last positive point, Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah.
He saw his first couple snaps of the year this year, allowed 0 pressures. That is huge. That is huge. If we can have him step in and be a fantastic left tackle, or even just top 15 left tackle in the league, we are looking at a fantastic offense, and we could make a run in the second half.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I think there are some positives that can be put at this, but it's one thing to say that they did what they were supposed to do, is beat the Lions. Did they do it in the style that they should have? No. I was hoping they would just smash them. Just absolutely smash these guys. And for a time, yeah, but I would also bring up too, and I think you would agree with this as well, is the way that they went down they were able to get down the field. Now, I get why they wanted to run the ball. It's a run-first offense. We get it. Dalvin Cook, we knew going into there was a chance that he would play, but it didn't end up being the case. So you go with Madison. Yes, Madison had some great runs. He had a nice catch, and he bulldozed his way to that touchdown, to the end zone. And I think there's a positive in that. There's a positive with Joseph being able to knock in a couple key field goals in this game. And again, it's when it came down to it, Was I nervous? Yeah, 100%. Was Cole nervous? Probably were watching that game. But it's nice to know that what you said about the positives, I couldn't agree more. Kirk was fantastic too. Easy A, I think we know who this guy is. Joseph should only kick field goals from 50 yards and plus. LOL. Yeah, just don't even get to the 30s. Let's just go 40s. Let's just go 50s, and then I don't know if we want to go beyond that, but we can make something work. But anyway, let me get to some negatives, and then I'm going to send it back to you, and you give me some of this. Well, I think the big negative that we need to discuss here, Cole, is the end of the game. You're up 16 to 6 or 16 to 9. You're up 16 to 6 at one point. 16 to 9. You have the ball. You go. You decide we're going to go conservative. We want to play it safe. In some cases, sure, that can work. But let's not forget that Justin Jefferson in the first half had over 100 yards. I think he had, was it 8 catches? No. He had 6 catches, I believe. And then he only had 2 in the second half. And then Thielen wasn't even utilized, But why aren't we throwing to those 2 guys? Why? We have the weapons to dagger this team. Cole, we talked about it yesterday when we were prepping for the show. If you want to dagger a team, you use the weapons that you have. And granted, I understand it's a run-first offense. I understand that. But we need to have better play calling at that point and realize, let's dagger this team. I've seen it before. They can do that. But we were way too conservative. Now, I look at Kubiak, I look at Zim, and I wonder, I'm like, what are we doing here? Let's beat this. Half of their starters weren't playing. So it's showing like, hey, we let this team back in, and we shouldn't have at all. Zero. Zilch. Okay? And it was frustrating to me why they did that with that conservative play calling, and it cost them. It did. So that for one kind of bugged me a little bit. And then if losing to an 0-16 or 0-5 or 0-4 team at the time, it's not good. And easy hashtag bring back Bud Grant. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know if he'd make it the whole season. As in, that's a lot to handle for an old guy like that. But it was a rough game play calling wise. And, I'm no NFL coach. Cole, you're not an NFL coach as well. But that bugged me. Also, the Breland being booed and then letting the fans have it on Twitter and all this BS too, which was crazy in itself. And yeah, I know it was interesting to say the least, but that was the big thing. Not utilizing Jefferson, Thielen, and we can't get conservative at that point, especially against this freaking team who they have undrafted free agent corners playing for them. So it bugged me. So I'm sure some of your negatives are the same as well. So Cole, anything you want to add to that?
Oh yeah. So I mean, the biggest negative here has got to be Clint Kubiak with a very heavy asterisk on there, assuming that Mike Zimmer is behind some of this. That play calling was atrocious. That was some of the worst play calling I've seen in a professional game in quite some time. As you said, they've got backup cornerbacks trying to guard an all-pro level receiver.
2.
And I don't care if they're being bracketed or not, because that's what they were trying to claim, is that they were running certain coverages and they were trying to bracket Justin Jefferson. I do not care. You find a way to get it to Justin Jefferson. You find a way to get it to Adam Thielen. You find a way to get it to the ball to your stars. Yeah. That's what you do in the NFL. If you can't do that, you cannot be calling plays in the NFL. It was just an absolutely atrocious game plan going in. Absolutely atrocious calls as far as that goes. And the most frustrating thing is we saw what could have been almost the entire game on that last 2-minute drive, or on that last even 30-second drive. We could have diced them up in the passing game the entire game, and we did not do it because Mike Zimmer is set in stone on running the ball, and Clint Kubiak is too scared of losing his job to step in and say, we need to throw the ball more. We have these options. We have these fantastic receivers. We have weapons galore. But we do not throw the ball because Mike Zimmer and Clint Kubiak refuse to. That is unacceptable. Now, as much as it's their faults, you need to also bring into the fact of two other people. Alexander Madison, he played a fantastic game the last two games all the way up until there was about 2 minutes left in the game. I am sorry, you cannot fumble the ball there. You put two hands around that ball, you go to the ground, you do whatever you need to do, because if we punt that ball away, we win that game no matter what. We're not looking at a 30-second drive. There is no way they are driving the length of the field in that time. You need to hold on to that ball. I do not care what you did throughout the rest of the game. Put two hands on the dang ball, go down to the ground, and just don't worry about it. And then you mentioned him briefly, Rashad Breeland. He was listed, I'm not sure if you saw this, Matt. He was listed in the bottom 10 of all corners that played.
He moved up, actually.
He moved up.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but he moved up. And he only moved up because of the fact that they added more corners onto the back end. That's it.
Yeah.
So his number technically moved down, but that's because they added a bunch of corners. So you cannot. He has been absolutely terrible. He has gotten burnt. You cannot play the guy anymore. You need to find somebody else. Hopefully Dantzler's back next week, so then we don't have to see the guy playing anymore.
Yeah.
What was that?
I think he's on track too. Yeah. I was just saying, yeah.
We need to have him back because we cannot play Breeland anymore. And the tweet that he put out after the game, you do not go after fans after the performance that you've put up this year. I don't care if we are coming after you hard. You do not put that out there. And now that was taken down within 10 minutes or whatever it was. You can obviously the Minnesota Vikings PR team did not let that stay up there.
No,
you cannot. You cannot go after the fans on that. You cannot go that route. You have been trash all year. It is questionable if you should even be a starting corner or even in a corner rotation at this point. As it's just an unacceptable performance by him.
Yeah. Well, let me. I agree with Madison. He's got to hold on to the ball, and I think Amber liked what you said. Two hands on the dang ball, and it's true. He has to. This is elementary stuff. It's elementary stuff. If you play the game of football, you need to hold on to the freaking ball, and it's that simple. Now, if people want to say, well, we're not in that position, if they let them, throw the ball and everything like that. But when you make the play call and you decide to do that, your job as a running back is to hold on to the ball no matter what. No matter what. And in this instance, Madison goofed. Okay? And guess what? It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. And, it's a good thing we won. It's a good thing we won.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a loss, I mean, the chatter would be up about Zim being fired, and I think it definitely would have. Now, speaking of that, real quick, because I want to get to our other hot takes here, but one other, and if Shield is here, I had to give a shout out, but Everson Griffin, 2 sacks. Mm-hmm. He looked like, hell, I still got enough left in the tank, folks, and he was fantastic. And Eric Kendricks, his interception, Patrick Peterson had a great game as well. So, I mean, there was some good secondary play, which is good, besides Breeland. But that's a whole other bag of worms. You mentioned Christian Darrisaw. Darrisaw kind of switched out with Rashad Hill and everything like that. It's kind of odd, but when he was in, they scored a touchdown. I don't know. That must be a good omen. Okay, so the last thing on this, and then we're going to move on here. The interaction between Zim and Kirk. Now, people interpret it as they were pissed off. They didn't like, Zim and Kirk weren't on the same page and whatnot. He was like, Kirk was getting in Zim's face, letting him know, like, hey, this is on you, the reason why we which isn't true at all. Because I saw they were smiling, and you could tell that Kirk was smiling and was pumped up. He was emotional. So was Zim. He was happy we won. Because Zim just realized, oh, crap, I could have lost my job here, if we lost this game. And Joseph went in and, got the kick, and we're happy. We're happy. But I know some people have different interpretations of it, but I think it's nothing to write home about. They're excited because I got the win. Kirk Cousins says, you like that. That's his catch line, all right? I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's that simple with the deal with Kirk and Zim there. So that's just my humble opinion on it. But, I don't know. I think some people interpret it a little differently. But how did you interpret that interaction?
I mean, it was not – it was overblown. I mean – I think it was made worse because one of the coaches misinterpreted it at the time too, and they grabbed Zimmer from the back and kind of pulled him back a little bit. But the beautiful irony of it is this is getting blown out of proportion, and I honestly believe if they lose that game, Zimmer loses his job in the bye week. I think he gets canned in the bye week, and we're looking at an interim coach stepping in for the rest of the season. And the absolute beautiful irony of that is that the two people that saved Mike Zimmer's job were the two people that, let's be honest, he has the least amount of respect for. That's Kirk Cousins and Greg Joseph.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's just beautiful irony written there. I mean, it came out earlier that Kirk Cousins, they did not have meetings. They would not talk to each other up until this year, until Kirk Cousins approached Mike Zimmer about it and started having meetings with him. So it's widely believed that relationship is very tenuous at best. So I think the interaction itself was overblown, but you could obviously tell Mike Zimmer was scared out of his mind that he was about ready to get canned.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you on that. The one thing that I think their relationship is much better than what people are speculating because they watch film together for the first time in a while. And I think with Kirk, and I would say too with Kirk being, we can all make the assumption he's unvaccinated. Okay. And I think that drives Zim crazy. And I think Zim is not happy with that because we're trying to do something here in Minnesota. But it's one thing to make note of too. And but I think it's much better than what people anticipate. And guess what? You're gonna butt heads sometimes. It's like when you see that, sometimes you think, oh, it's fractured, and whatnot. But it's not. And you could tell from that interaction it wasn't. But I think Zim, like you said, was probably relieved that his job was safe in that instance. So the Vikings are on to Carolina, Cole, on Sunday there, and they're at Carolina. Still iffy if McCaffrey's going to play, but I guess we'll see what happens there. But I think if we had more time, we'd go into it. But if they go 3-3. I think Zim's position is safe again, but if I don't know, there's going to be a lot of chatter about this one. People are going to watch it under a microscope, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens on Sunday. But anyway, let's move on to a team that has some hope here with the Minnesota Wild. The Wild play in the season opener on Friday against the Ducks. Quack, quack, quack. Shout out to former intern guy Trev. But, things are looking good for the Wild starting off here. One thing that kind of hurts a little bit, Matt Boldy, we probably won't see him in a little bit. was designated to the injured non-roster or as an injured non-roster player. So that's that. I mean, that hurts a little bit. But hey, guess what? You got Kaprizov. You got all these other guys that are coming in here, especially Zuccarello. I think is going to be good again with on that line with Kaprizov. And this is first season or in a long time, first season in a long time without Suter or Parisi. So this is going to be interesting, taking on the Ducks. But I'm looking forward to Friday. Voldy, I know, is too. So when he gets back, we'll be chatting about that too. But Cole, I know you're not much of a hockey guy, but the good news is that you got some stuff for us. You got some interesting tidbits for us. But what are your thoughts on the Wild this year? I mean, do you think they're going to make the playoffs? Do you think they're not going to make the playoffs? I mean, what do you think overall for this team this year? Go ahead.
So I think they're going to slip into the back end of the playoffs, 6 to 8 seed, somewhere around there. And I think it's all going to come down to I got a couple keys here. Big key, you got to have good goalkeeping. You had Cam Talbot step in last year, did an admirable job. He ranked 17th in save percentage, so that really helps kind of stabilize the back end there when we've had issues in the past with goalkeeping. So even if you can get middle of the pack goalkeeping from him, you're looking at you've got enough skill in the rest of those positions that you could make a playoff push. Ryan Hartman stepping in for Eck, that's going to be huge too. You need him to step in and not lose a step. And then finally, Nico Strum. We need something from him. Yeah. We need him to have a big year. We need him to take a big step this year. If he takes a big step, we could be looking at deep playoff runs.
Well, I would agree with you on pretty much all of that too. And I think for one, it's going to be interesting. I mentioned it at the beginning here is how this team's going to look without a Parisi, without a Suter. And I think it came as a shock, I think, for a lot of people. And it was more of a shock with Suter than it was with Parisi. We saw that one coming. I'll go back on that. But another guy that I was kind of looking at too, and Capo Kakinen. Okay, Kakinen, the Wild were a little scared that the Kraken, obviously with the expansion draft, were going to take Kakinen. And I was getting concerned too because I want him on the Wild. I don't want him going anywhere else. What the heck are we doing? But I'm happy that Kakinen's and Cam Talbot. I'm telling you, he was very, very good last year, and I can't say nothing but good things with Cam Talbot, and I think he's going to be he's going to be good. Dumba, I wouldn't be surprised. And Billy Guerin, now let's remember, our GM here, Billy Guerin, is feeling good about trading guys. It doesn't matter who it is, besides Kaprizov. But that's a whole other thing we can get to. But like I said, I think Dumba could be dealt. Maybe not, but there's always been that talk. I still think he's a key asset for the Wild, and I think you got to roll with him. Foligno's another guy that I think is going to have another big year as well. So I'm going to make this. I'll make this prediction now. I think the Wild are going to make the playoffs this year. I'm putting it out there today. They are going to make the playoffs this year, but you're on your own after that. That's all I'm going to put it as. Because I think Kaprizov, Fiala, Bukestad, Zuccarello are gonna be great. And like you said with Eck, I think that's another key piece. And then also Jordan Greenway. I think a lot of people like what he's seen or what people have seen from him too. You get Jordy Ben, Goligoski as well on defensemen. So we'll see what happens, but I think they're going to make the playoffs, and the puck drops on Friday. So let's go. Let's go Wild. So we're feeling good about that. Anything you want to add, Cole, before we get to your beloved Wolves?
I'd just like to know, do you think Nico Strom's going to get an expanded role this year? Because he only played about 10 minutes a game last year. 10, 11 minutes a game.
Yeah, I think so. Well, the reason why is because now that, and I'm not saying that Parisi took up much. I don't think Parisi fit the scheme, and I also think him and Evison butted heads a lot, especially with Guerin, too, at some points. But yeah, Sturm, I think, is going to get some more playing time. Especially, they're going to need the leadership, too, from Dumba, because Dumba's like one of the, and Brodeen, I guess, to some extent. Bukestad, former Gopher as well. And Fiala, Fiala's he's got to be more consistent, too. So I think Sturm is going to come in. I don't know, is it third or fourth line or something like that? But I think he'll be good. I'm feeling good about him. So, yeah, I agree. I think we'll see what happens. But looking forward to the season starting. Let's go wild. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. All right, let's move on to the Wolves. And now, this is going to move into Infinity rankings because we got a lot to talk about there. But the Wolves are coming into the season one of the worst teams in the league, which we can agree on, at this point. But that could change. That could change here. Not saying that there's a lot of turmoil these past couple weeks now. Rosas gone. I want to kind of hear what your thoughts are on that with that whole situation. Pat Bev coming to the Wolves, which is good, which is very good. Ant's progression. We saw a couple preseason games where he played well. And then obviously A-Rod and Mark Laurie buying the Timberwolves. So let's start off with the A-Rod and Mark Laurie deal here. And now that they're going to be officially owning the Timberwolves and whatnot, Cole, how do you feel about that, man? What do you got?
Well, let's clarify this. No one can be worse than Glenn Taylor.
Yeah.
So, just to say, listen, even though we have Payrod in there, I am not. I would take him over Glenn Taylor. So,
yeah.
No matter who we got coming in as an owner, I am feeling better than what I did. Now, Mark Lore, I do like Mark Laurie from what I've heard. I think he's going to step in with his past in business and with the way that he runs things. I think this ship's going to be corrected at some point. And if that ship can be corrected at some point, I also love Sachin Gupta. So I think that three-headed monster, if they can just push Glenn Taylor to the side, send him to the retirement home with his billions and billions, I think that give us a couple years, we will be right up there. We'll be a fantastic team again.
Fantastic team. We haven't been a fantastic team since 2004. You know
Yep.
that, right?
Okay. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. First half of the season with Jimmy Butler, we were fantastic.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
that is also basically Lord Voldemort's name. We do not speak of him in the circles.
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack with that, so I'm going to try to avoid that deal. No. Anyway, yeah, I mean, like I said this before on the show, I do think they're going to be better owners than Glenn Taylor. Glenn Taylor, I feel, KG even said it, and you can back me on this, as he said he doesn't know basketball. He doesn't at all. Besides when he owned, when he first started to own the Timberwolves, Lynx and all that stuff. And he hasn't had the best judgment when it comes to GMs, when it's come to some even coaches at some point. And then how he handled the whole Butler deal. I think that's another thing to bring up. And then also KG, the treatment of KG. And if you cross that line with fans, they're coming after you. And it's not sunshine and rainbows. It's not ducky and bunnies when it comes to owning a team and having so much dysfunction, which leads me into my next thing. And this is, with Payrod, as you like to call him, with Aroyd and Mark Laurie. I think they're going to be better owners. I really do. Are they going to keep the team in Minnesota? Aroyd has been known to lie, so just remember that. Before we even do anything, just remember that, okay? He has been known to lie, but we'll see what happens.
Let's be honest about that, Matt. It's going to come down to money.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If they build an arena, they'll stay.
Well, let's hope so. We'll see what happens. But which leads me to my next point. I talked about dysfunction. Gerson Rosas. Oh, boy. We didn't know a lot when this happened now. When this was breaking news a couple weeks ago for myself and Voldy. But, Cole, just kind of give me your thoughts on that whole deal with Rosas, and I guess he was just kind of a scumbag a little bit. So, what are your thoughts on that whole deal?
So let me clarify here first.
Yeah.
That whole day was a ride of emotions. I was livid when I found out that they had fired him.
I read
Matt
your
can
snap.
back me on that.
Yeah.
Matt can back me on that.
Yep.
I was livid. Because I agreed with a whole lot of moves he made. I agreed with
Sure.
a lot of the contracts that he signed, a lot of the trades that he made. He did have one or two moves that weren't the best in hindsight, but hindsight is 2020. And a lot of his thoughts behind stuff and a lot of the motives that he had for making the moves, I loved it. Now, when that comes out and when the information that comes out that led to the firing, you can't keep him around. You just can't. I mean, the relationship with a coworker in there, technically, he was her boss, so that can't happen. He was also married at the time. I think she was married. And kid, yeah, he had kids too. That can't happen. Some of the things that he did, like blocking Sachin Gupta for that King's job, he's technically allowed to do it, but also not the best practices. And it's just, you rub too many people the wrong way. And a lot of times we didn't know that at the time. So I understand now why they had to let him go. I'm optimistic on who they're going to bring in. Please don't bring in Elton Brand. I do not want to bring in Elton Brand. I know that name's been floating around.
Yeah.
Keep Sachin Gupta there. Let him do his job. Don't try and go for the big name on this. Just let him do his job. He will build a good team. And just don't get in your own way on that.
Yeah. Well, I'll add on to that, too, because at first you'd think, well, what the hell is Glenn Taylor doing? And actually, we just didn't have enough information at the time with Rosas. And, yeah, you're livid, and I don't blame you, because just dysfunction. And this guy, I believe when he would go scout too. And I'm just going to add this, and then we'll get into Infinity rankings, because this leads in perfectly to what they need to do this season, because we're going to get more to the players and how Finch is going to deal with his team. And I think there's this glimmer, this little bit of glimmer of hope, but he would go scout, and he wouldn't even sit with his guys that he hired to get these specific. He would be talking to former guys from the Rockets and not sitting over and checking in of who he wanted, right? He kind of did it his own way, which is something you don't want to have as GM. You want to be, active and being working together with your coworkers, and he didn't do that. And then he cheated on his wife and with another woman who had. You said that she had a husband and kids too?
I believe she was married.
Okay, so
I do not know about the kids part.
And then there's that. So, not a good deal. It's really not a good deal. But leading into the season, we're going to get into that with Infinity rankings here, because, Cat You know, there's a lot to be talked about with Cat. There's a lot to be talked about D'Lo, Ant, Pat Bev. I think that'll be a good topic as well. So, anyway, that's going to do it for Tater Tot Hot Take for this week. We had 3 of them. We had 3 of them today because we got to talk about it. I mean, it's just there's a lot of things going on in the world of sports right now, which is great because it gives us great content. So, it's time for some Infinity rankings. Now, how this is going to work is obviously myself, yours truly, DJ Matty C. It has his 6 Infinity Stones, which means 6 keys to the Wolves being successful in the 2021-2022 season. Now, I give mine, and then Cole's going to give his, and we'll kind of, go back and forth a little bit on what we think of each other's rankings here. So it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it because, the Wolves are the Wolves, but since we got our Wolves expert, we might as well talk about it. So let's get to some Infinity rankings.
While many have power rankings, none have captured them all. It's time for Matty C's Infinity Rankings.
All right, we are back with some Infinity Rankings. I'm starting off, like I told you, Cole, because it's my segment, so don't take it. It's mine. Okay? Leave me alone. No, just kidding. No. Here are my rankings. And now Cole, I should say, Cole has not seen my rankings yet. So, we're going to see what he thinks. We'll get Cole's reaction after I talk about it because then Cole can kind of say, well, this is how I would put it, here, and whatnot. That's what we do when we do the segment with Voldy. But Easy already has started off. Number 1 for the Wolves' success, make smart decisions. LOL, to put it nicely. I would hope that they would. They've made some dumb decisions, grant you that. 4-point cards on the draft. Excuse me. Let's get it going here because we got to reveal it. So boom, here it is. Starting at number 6, bench points. The Wolves need to get bench points out of their bench this year. And the reason why I have it up there is because they have to make sure that we're not only getting points from the starters, but we need to have, McDaniels, Vanderbilt, Naz Reid, guys like that to be able to get a lot of get some points off the bench, and that's what we need. And that's why I like Jamal Crawford so much. He's just a fantastic 6-man. I don't know. I'd call him back up. No. But I think Beasley, I think as well, he'll probably start a couple here and there, but Beasley coming off the bench, Malik Beasley, I think should help a little bit too. But that's what I have at number 6. Now let's take a look at number 5. Number 5, we have play big power forwards. Now, there's not a power forward on this roster that I would say that I'm feeling good about. Vanderbilt, McDaniels. I mean, it's okay. It's not awful, but at the same time, I think that's something they're lacking a little bit because Cat usually plays center. You could kind of switch him power forward. You have Naz Reid in the middle, but I think at this point, you got to find a guy that would be able to, fill that role at power forward. So those guys need to. Because there's some big guys, that they'll be having to take on, especially in the division, especially against the Jazz, especially against, OKC, especially against, teams like that. So they got to play big, and, they got to be scrappy at least. And I think Finch is going to do well with those guys. Number 4, Pat Bev, SOB. We need him to be Pat Bev. And why do I say it like that? It's like, well, of course, that's what we want him to do. But he's got to be the guy that everyone doesn't want to play against because he is SOB. He's got that bulldog mentality, like, do not mess with me. okay? And he doesn't care who he's up against. He'll take on anybody, and he is a defensive specialist. He is a very good defender. I think that this is going to help, especially what I have at number 1, which is, I think, is on everyone else's minds too. But I'll talk about that more. But we need Pat Bev to be Pat Bev. He's going to be. He's already started off. He already called out Luka Doncic. I don't know if that was a smart thing to do. But again, that's one thing to look at. But Pat Bev, he's got to be in us. Now, number 3, I have Ant's progression. Ant, I think, is going to be very good this year. I think we look at preseason, and he's doing a lot of good things, but he really was working on his defense in the offseason. So that was something that we want to see with Ant, and especially he's got to do what he did last year, which he should have been Rookie of the Year, like we all agree on. He should have been Rookie of the Year, but that's a whole nother deal. But LaMelo Ball shouldn't have won. Popularity contest. Number 2. They need Cat to lead. Okay? Now, let's be honest for a second here. I love Cat. Don't get me wrong. I really do. He's been through a lot, especially with this, the pandemic, losing family members, losing his mom. But we need Cat to kind of lead this team. And the reason why I say that is he needs to be able to take the bull by the horns. And people, criticize, he's not the strongest defender. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Prove to people that you can be the guy. Okay? You don't have to be superhero all the time because you have D'Lo. They won out. They got you D'Lo. You have Ant. You have Pat Bev. Things are looking good for you right now. Now, obviously, there's some talk about Ben Simmons, but that's a whole other deal. But Cat needs to lead this team. He needs to be a vocal presence. That's what this team needs. I'm hoping he takes that on, and I think he can be successful with it. I really believe that. Okay, 1. I think we can all agree on this. Defense. You can score all the points you want, Cole Munson. You can score all the points you want. But you got to be able to defend a little bit. Because if the Wolves are scoring 140, but the other team's scoring 150, which has happened, by the way, it's not good. It's not great. And to be honest, it's kind of pitiful. And the Wolves need to work on that big time. Huge. Absolutely. Now, I think it's going to improve. I think Finch is going to make sure that they are going to be able to defend. I think if they're able to defend, they have a good shot at making the playoffs. I do believe that. Are they going to? I don't think so. But I think there's going to be some progression there. And guys got to stay healthy. So that's another thing that we need to bring up too. So anyway, let me reveal it again. And then, Cole, I want your reaction. Just give me some of your thoughts on it. Zoners, give us your thoughts on it as well. So number 6, bench points. Number 5, we want the power forwards to play big. Pat Bev needs to be an SOB. You guys know what I mean by that. We want to see Ant progress even more. We want Cat to lead. And we want defense. Cole Munson and Zoners. That's what we want. That's what we need. That's how they're going to be successful. So before we get to you, Cole, sorry, because we got Zoners. 1 through 6 is just defense and 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting could be, yeah. Well, Cat's not a bad 3-point shooter.
In past years, yes.
Yeah. He's not
in past years, yes.
But yes, I do agree. Our 3-point shooting needs to be better. Defense wins championships, baby. You're damn right. Damn right. Mm-hmm. All right, Cole, your thoughts. Go.
All right, so you throw it up back up here real quick, and I'll kind of run through. So, the bench points, I 100% agree with that. But we actually have a better bench, I think, than we've had in years.
That's good.
We go about 12 deep that I'd be comfortable playing. and we haven't had that in a long, long, long time. So bench points, I think we're going to be good there. Naz Reid as a backup center can definitely get you some buckets.
Yeah.
If you bring Malik Beasley out the bench, which I'll get to in my point, he can definitely get you buckets. Josh Okogie has actually looked really good. He may be able to get you a little bit here and there with Pat Bev knocking down some jump shots. We've got options on the bench, and it's real nice to have some bench points. Big play power forwards, size is going to be a problem for us this year.
Yep.
We do not have a ton of size, and I'll explain more on my end of that.
Sure.
Pat Bev, I agree 100%, but I think Pat Bev and Josh Okogie, they've been working on that in the second unit, running Pat Bev and Josh Okogie together on that second unit. That right there can really spark some defense.
Good.
So I think that is 100% correct. And then obviously defense, yes. Defense is always, I mean, I'll explain a bit more, but defense has always been the issue.
Yep. It always has been too. So it's just how it is. But Zoners, your thoughts on my rankings. But Colt, let's get to yours. Let's reveal yours here real quick. So, boom! Go ahead. All yours.
All right. So we're going to start number one.
Okay.
Defense. Like Matt said, you need to be able to play defense. You need to be able to get stops in this league if you want to be a playoff team or further. For you to win in this league, you need to be able to get clutch stops. You need to be able to get stops that lead to fast break points, that lead to easier offense. Now, Matt, I got a question for you. When do you think the last time that the Wolves finished even in the top 2/3 of defensive rating, which is a key metric to figuring out defense?
So what year you're saying? What year?
What was the last year that the Timberwolves finished in the top 20 of defense?
Probably with Butler? Was it?
No.
No? Good.
No, it was not.
KG?
No. 2014.
Oh, really?
Do you remember who was on that 2014 team?
Oh, good Lord. Don't you dare say it.
I looked it up for you. Don't worry about it. That was a team with Rubio, Peck, Kevin Martin, Kevin Love, that whole fun group. That was the last time we ranked in the top 20 in defensive rating.
Okay.
So we have not been an even average defensive team for the last 7 years, and that is just not acceptable. Number two, health. The combination of Cat, Malik Beasley, and D'Angelo Russell missed 87 games last year. Now, some of that is off-the-court issues, but a lot of that also is health. You need to stay healthy. We need D'Angelo Russell and Cat to play a majority of the year, or we're not going to be good. We are not built to have one or two of those guys sit at the same exact time, or we're in trouble. Number three up there, forward stability. We need forward stability real bad. It is our two weakest positions within our starting lineup. There are four guys in my mind vying for those two spots. You got Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt, excellent defender, going to rebound like a madman, probably your only true power forward on the entire team. The biggest problem with him is he cannot score. He cannot spread the floor. He is a lob threat. That's about it. And he's an undersized lob threat at that. Number two is Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is probably getting a starting spot on this team, whether it's at the 3 or at the 4, is kind of up for who he's playing alongside. I think Jaden McDaniels has an opportunity to cement himself as the 4th best player on this team. I think he could jump Malik Beasley by the end of this, barring any sort of trade, because Ben Simmons is still out there, but we're not going down that road right now. Number 3 is Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley, I'm going to say I think that he should start on the bench. I think that he should be the 6th man.
That's the plan, yeah.
Yeah, I think he needs to be the 6th man. I think he needs to be the scoring punch off the bench. And if you provide him the scoring punch off the bench, I think that will be huge. Now he's still got an opportunity to start if they wanted to go that route. He's the best shooter on the team. He's the best pure catch and shoot shooter on the team. So you have that option if you wanted to throw him, go all offense. But the defense, if you go that route, is going to be rough. And finally, the fourth person and kind of a dark horse candidate here, Taurean Prince. My beloved Ricky Rubio. They traded my beloved Ricky Rubio for Taurean Prince.
Good.
But Taurean Prince has not been able to stay healthy for the last couple of years. But when he stays healthy, he is an above-average defender and a guy that shoots excellent from three-point. He is the perfect 3-and-D wing that you idealize about. You just need him to stay healthy, and you need him to control the shots that he's taking because he's had an issue with that in the past. Number 4 there, size and rebounding. We already kind of touched on that a little bit. You've got 3 true either power forward or center types. I would consider Taurean Prince a wing. I would consider Jaden McDaniels a wing. Really, the 3 big guys you got are Cat, Naz Reid, Jared Vanderbilt. And Naz Reid is an undersized center at that. So we're going to have some real size issues, and that's going to lead to some real rebounding issues on this team. Number 5 was playmaking Cat. Chris Finch, I'm not sure if a lot of you know, Chris Finch was the lead assistant when Jokic started to make his breakout. When he started to really become Nikola Jokic, Chris Finch was in that lineup, and he has talked many times about using the formula that he used to help make Jokic into what he is now, and using that with Cat, trying to get Cat to be a better playmaker. If you can get Cat to be a better playmaker and even be just a percent of what Jokic is as a playmaker, you're looking at an excellent team. And finally, number 6, it's ego and attitude.
Yeah.
Most of these guys have never played on a winning team. Pat Bev has played on a winning team. That's about it. D'Angelo Russell made the playoffs, I think, 1 time. And Malik Beasley wasn't playing very much at the time that they made the playoffs. Yep. So you're looking at a very inexperienced group. You're looking at a team that's not used to winning. What happens if they go on a 3-game win streak? Are they going to be able to have the mental fortitude to not get too high on themselves and have a massive drop night against a sad team like the Thunder or something like that? That's going to be huge. You need to be able to maintain your mental focus throughout an 82-game season.
Yeah.
This team is not good enough to try and flip the switch or to try and coast on certain nights. You need to show up every single night. And going back to what I talked about with you before about the Patrick Beverley, Joshua Okogie matchup, attitude going into a game leads a lot directly with defense. And the combination of Patrick Beverley and Joshua Okogie coming off the bench is going to be huge about providing some emotion, providing some spark, providing some attitude, for goodness sake, on the defensive end on a nightly basis. And I think that's why Joshua Okogie is going to be one of the biggest slept-on guys this year.
Yep. I hope so. And I think he's got to improve shooting-wise, and I think he has to be a little bit more opportunistic when he's taking his shots, right? And I think you and I have touched on that a couple times too. So anyway, let's throw it back up for everybody. Defense, health, forward stability, size, rebounding, playmaking, Cat, and attitude/ego. And I couldn't agree more. If I were to switch anything, I really wouldn't switch much. I think the attitude and ego could move up to even 4, and I think that would probably help a lot because I think they got to have some cohesion. And I think when you brought in Butler, you wanted him to be the leader, and I just think they didn't respond well to it. You got to have somebody to respond well to in some of these instances. So, I don't disagree with a lot of what you put there. So,
and I know, real quick, I know you love to give me grief about Rubio, but I think that's going to be the biggest thing that we're missing.
Now, before you get into that, I want to say someone keeps enabling you, and that is something I do not want to have happen. And that is go by the name of this former intern. Bring back Ricky. How about you bring back you? I wouldn't even bring back former intern guy. The fact that he just said bring back Rubio is just absurd beyond belief. And the reason why I say that, Trev does not know what he's talking about. FYI.
Trevor, don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to this guy. Ricky Rubio, best Timberwolves point guard of all time. Best Timberwolves point guard of all time. It is such a huge thing to have him on our team. He provides so much leadership. I am telling you, Ricky Rubio will be great on this team.
Okay, I disagree with one part of that, but I agree with you on a second part. The one thing I agree with you on, Cole, is that he did provide leadership. He did. I agree with you. I do agree with you. He did provide some leadership. Only thing that I disagree with you on, he wasn't the best Wolves point guard. Terrell Brandon was the best point guard. Could be the best point guard here.
We've had this debate for a solid about half hour. If you want to see that debate, go back through, scroll a little bit, you'll find it. But
that's just my opinion. No, I'm just saying. All right, so let's get to the zoners here. Easy A keeps yakking about whatever you can do to get that W. That's true. That's very true. The 2014 team also had a Hall of Fame coach. And who was that
is
coach,
true.
Cole?
Rick Adelman, baby.
There you go. Rick Adelman. When Cole is back against the wall, back is against the wall, talk about Rubio. LOL. Exactly. It's because Cole doesn't want to admit he's not the best point guard of the Timberwolves. He can't shoot.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. And he could shoot. When we had him, he could shoot a little bit towards the end of the year.
Are you saying when we had him last year, or are you saying when before?
When we had him last year.
Yeah,
he was an okay 3-point shooter.
He was okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I liked it. I liked it. I just, You know what my deal is on that, but we'll end it like that. But always fun to chat about the Wolves with you. Let's move on to ARA because there are some things that we do need to talk about, especially John Gruden. And not only that, Urban Meyer, and then also we're going to talk about the Gophs. They play the Cornhuskers this weekend on Saturday, and then this Kyrie deal. We need to discuss this, man. You and me and the zoners got to discuss this whole Kyrie situation. But first, we're gonna start with Gruden because that's what we need to talk about right away. So anyway, it's time for Approve.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
Yeah. Anyway, like we were talking about just before, ARA apparently was not voted best segment. Tater Tot Hot Take was, but I think it's got a chance at winning this year, much like Cole. Maybe winning best guess of 2020. He might redeem himself. You never know. But
come on, guys, go to the ballot box.
We haven't even started the ballot box yet, but who knows? They might keep you in mind. All right. So usually I send it to Voldy, but now it's me this week, so I got to get used to that. All right. We're going to start off with John Gruden. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the show, I've done impressions of John Gruden. I'm going to get into that, but the whole everyone knows the deal. Before this all kind of happened, there was an email saying or John Gruden made a racial. I wouldn't say slur, but he kind of alluded to kind of saying that the NFLPA head guy DeMar Smith said that he had big lips or whatever, or big as Michelin tires or something like that, which is something that you just don't say at all. And then also, then we come to find out that John Gruden also had a bunch of emails, had anti-gay statements. He also called, obviously this is a peach, but, he called Michael Sam in his email, calling Michael Sam a queer, and saying a lot of pretty mean things, using some other anti-gay slurs, saying that women shouldn't be in football, things like that. There's a whole lot to unpack with it, but he resigned just this Monday, and we've it's been noted here with MinneZona Sports Live. But before I get into mine, I want to get Cole's reaction and his thoughts on this as well. And the zoners, please feel free to give us your thoughts too. Absurd or approve the Raiders' handling of this issue, Cole?
I mean, you have to approve it.
Yeah,
it's a really terrible situation. They did what they had to do. Maybe you could have done it a little bit sooner when that first email dropped. But it's just it's a sad situation. And it makes you wonder what else is out there for emails.
Yeah.
What else has been said in that group? Whether the NFL is going to release the rest of those emails or not. Apparently, the NFLPA came out and asked the NFL to release all the rest of the emails in the investigation. But some of the stuff he said in there, you just cannot say. And he would not be able to walk back into that locker room with the emails that were out there and be taken seriously. Carl Nassib, he's a defensive end for the Raiders, the first openly gay active football player.
Yep.
With some of the homophobic slurs he's spoken of and the comments about Michael Sam, you wonder what would have happened there if they would have tried to bring him back in to that locker room with the Carl Nassib stuff going on. It's a sad day. It's a bit shocking. Granted, there's been people coming out and saying that it's not as shocking to them. Apparently, that some of his former players are not
Johnson,
him. Keyshawn Johnson, yep. So, it's a bad situation all around. I think the Raiders did what they had to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's got my stamp of approval, but I'm going to give a little bit more to it here. Gruden won't find a coaching job anywhere ever.
As he should never.
Right. So let's get to my thing here, because if you guys have watched the show, I have done impressions and impersonated John Gruden. To be honest, I did not know any of I didn't think he would do or say any of this type of stuff. But he did. And I'm going to say today officially on this show that we will not be doing any more John Gruden impressions and or segments or anything like that. To be quite frank, when I saw everything, that I was shocked, to be honest with you, because, there was a lot to like about John Gruden, but the fact that all of this has come out has changed my mind about John Gruden. Now, people are going to say, and I think some people think, I disagree with this because, it doesn't make sense. He said this, 10 years ago and all this other stuff, too. But to be honest with you guys, it doesn't matter if he said it that long ago. He still said it. Okay? And for him to say all these things in these emails that, why do you even... The thing is, they weren't even investigating him at all until they found the emails, because they found it through Washington, because they were investigating Washington. There's some big deal going on with the Washington football team, which no surprise there with Dan Snyder there. But it's completely changed my mind about John Gruden. And the fact that we have gotten to this point of him, doing all this stuff, it only makes sense for us to stop doing impressions and things like that of Gruden. And it's sad, but at the same time, we got to do what we have to do, because I do not stand by what he said. And I agree with Easy A. I don't think that he will get a job in the NFL again. And I think he has to do a public apology. Give a public apology not only to, his team. He did the right thing in resigning. And I think if it came down to it, the Raiders would have fired him. And they did what they, did, but with the Smith email, deal, I think they didn't think that they would find more in some aspect. But also at the same time, he wouldn't have lost his job over that specific one. But now that there's more out there, there's no choice for him but to resign, and or if get fired. But I just wanted to say that just to let people know, because we have done it. We've done the impressions and things like that, but I think he needs to go out and publicly apologize, and also a little bit more than that too. So we'll put it like that. But it doesn't surprise me that he resigned. I think it was either that or get fired, and it's disappointing. And also, to add on to it, he was removed from the Buccaneers Ring of Honor, which says a lot too. So with John Gruden, I think he's got to make some formal apology, public apology. So, stamp of approval for how the Raiders kind of handled it, and who knows what'll happen for them this season. So, I think Derek Carr even said recently, "I love the man, but I hate the sin that he made." Sins, I should say, to be honest with you. But anyway, we both have the same thoughts on that, so that's how we'll leave it at, and we will not be doing any John Gruden stuff on MinneZona anymore. So, FYI. Anyway, let's move on to a little bit of interest. This whole Urban Meyer thing now. So let's rattle this one off for the zoners. Urban and the Jags, they fall to 0-5. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now, Urban Meyer, we all know the spiel that I gave with Urban Meyer. They fall to 0-5. They get throttled by the Titans. I think he's lost the team. I think he should, and people with the Gruden thing, that's kind of overshadowed, what's happened with Urban Meyer and whatnot. But Cole, zoners, I ask you this: absurd or approved? The Jags not firing Urban Meyer yet. I mean, is it coming? Is it not coming? I mean, is it A or A? Cole, what do you think?
I think it's approved that they haven't done it yet, because I don't think that they could step in right now and find a competent replacement for him. He is going to get fired by the end of the year. So if you're talking long term, it is absurd by the end of the year. He cannot be your coach long term. He's not even on a hot seat. The seat's just been taken out from under him. He is just waiting out he's going down his march line here, waiting to be taken out. So it's absolutely absurd what he did. Obviously, I mean, you're a married man. Not getting on the plane with your own team. There's been multiple players coming out saying that is not acceptable as a coach. And to be caught in that situation, you can't do it. You just can't do it. It's a bad look on you. It's a bad look on the organization for hiring you. Urban Meyer just seems like he's in over his head right now. I don't think he was the right man for the job. I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence because, I mean, he's been dealt a bad deck It's just he's been dealt a bad deck. So approved on they haven't fired him yet because they don't have a replacement, I don't think. But absurd if you think that he's going to last even the rest of the year.
I would say this from my perspective on this. I said he should be fired last week, and I still believe that. Now, like you said, I think. Well, I disagree. I think it's absurd. Now, you said, where are they going to find a comparable replacement? Well, the season's lost. Let's be honest. I mean, let's put it bluntly. The season's lost. Okay, and to have this man still as your coach when you've lost the locker room, B, people haven't forgotten about the whole deal, and 3, FYI, he also has told coaches it's like playing Alabama every week. I think he's a bona fide college coach right now, and people think he might be sabotaging the job to get into the USC job. But I don't necessarily believe that he's doing that purposely, but I think it's absurd. I think they need to fire him and move on and let Darrell Bevell be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And interim, obviously, for now, and see how things go. But I think Darrell Bevell deserves another shot. And he was interim when Patricia was fired, and he went in and he did okay. Lions are Lions. But I think Darrell Bevell can do a great job with Trevor Lawrence, and I think that's what they should do. Now, the fact that he is still on this team, it's like, well, he's got to earn trust back and this and that. Well, once you're lost, once you have lost the locker room, I said it last week, once you've lost the locker room, you've lost everything. I mean, and if they fire him at the end of the season, okay, but I think you could have just gotten it over with, right away. But, I'll let the Jags be the Jags. So we'll kind of put it like that, Cole. But, yeah, I'm going to say absurd. I think that he should be fired. That's just my opinion on it. But anything to add with that, Cole?
I do think that there's a very good chance that they do fire him in their bye week.
Okay.
I think that would be a good time for them to fire him. Just with I would say the biggest difference with the Urban Meyer thing and the John Gruden thing, the John Gruden thing, to me, you had to fire him right then and there. You could not let that get any worse. Yep. You could not let that go on any further. Urban Meyer, I felt, especially with the Jaguars, I think it helped them that came out.
Yeah.
I think it helped Urban Meyer a ton that came out. And I don't know if he should I don't think that he should have the job long term. I just think for the Jags' best interest, if they can get to their bye week and then fire him, I think that would do them a lot of good. Gives the coaching staff there a better opportunity to really kind of step back into their job and reassess with a full 2 weeks of preparation. So I wanted to clarify, I am not saying that he should have this job. I'm not saying that this is a fireable offense. He lost that locker room. But I think it's in the Jaguars' best interest to wait until the bye week. I'm not sure when their bye week is, but
I mean, they completely trolled him too. I mean, if you saw that video, all right, grind on 3, grind. Hilarious. But anyway, I think we're either way, if they don't fire him, I think it would be a travesty if they kept him for another year. Or long term, I think that'd be a travesty because I really don't think,
there's no way you can do that.
No,
there is no way you can have him be your long term coach right now.
Hell no.
Especially the record the record too, on top of the stuff, on top of the scandal stuff, on top of the players coming out and trolling you, on top of everyone just you becoming basically a joke.
The big punching bag.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way you can keep this job long term.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, let's move on to our next one. It involves the Golden Gophers. They take on the Cornhuskers on Saturday. And this is at Huntington Bank Stadium, which is still weird to say, but that's what it is. The Gophs, they come off, they come off a bye, which is good. It's good for the Gophs, but it's been a weird season. I think that's kind of how we've put it as. The Gophers, they play well against Ohio State. They still lost, but but then you have that stinker against, and really, I mean, it was terrible. It was absolutely with Bowling Green and whatnot. And Nebraska's coming off a loss against Michigan, which they did play well, but still, they still lost. But this is at Huntington Bank Stadium, so this should help the Gophs. But one thing that won't is Trey Potts. He is out for the season with an undisclosed ailment. It sounds like it's pretty doggone bad, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Flex said that he's doing well, so he's doing very well, so that's good to hear. But Cole, let me ask you this for our ARA for the Gophs here. The Gophers will beat, absurd or approved, the Gophers will beat the Cornhuskers on Saturday. And do you think, and I'm going to add on to this, and will it help or not? Or someone's got to step up and Trey Potts. Because you lose Ibrahim and then you lose Potts. Now someone's got to step up. So, hopefully the running game is still the running game, whoever is in the backfield there. So, absurd or approved, the Gophers will beat the Cornhuskers on Saturday.
It's approved.
Okay.
No, this is.
I like it.
Lock it in.
Lock it. Whoa.
Lock it in. They're winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 2 scores.
Really?
Whoa. They're going to come out. They're going to be guns blazing. They're going to do it for Trey Potts. But as far as the running game goes, we've always had good running backs. We've always had a good running game in general. It helps that we have the offensive line that we do. We got
it's a big boy
basically Sunday-level talent across that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we'll dominate the line of scrimmage. I think that the defense will step up, and they'll play pretty good against Nebraska. And I think we're going to take care of business. I'd predict the score. I'd go 24-11 Gophers.
24-11. How do they get 11? That's my question. They go for 2 or something? I don't know.
We'll find a way.
They'll find a way. Okay. I guess we'll see. Absurd or approved for me. I'm going to go stamp of approval. And the reason why I do say stamp of, I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a close one. I did say that Tanner Morgan should have been benched after the Bowling Green game, but I think he proved me wrong playing Purdue a couple weeks ago. And, I like Tanner Morgan. Don't get me wrong, I do like Tanner Morgan, but the way that he played against Bowling Green, he should have been benched. But you go into this Cornhusker game. They played Michigan fairly well, but I think that they're going to come in and it's going to be no nonsense. To be honest with you, it's going to be no nonsense with the Cornhuskers this week. I think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to say 24-21. Zoners, let us know what you guys think too. But I think that, like you said, they've always had success with the run game, with Trey Potts, with Ibrahim, and like you said, the offensive line is just loaded. And Falele, Andries, they're going to be fine, I think. But defensively, there are some things that I worry about. But I do like the the defensive line that they do have right now, and I especially Trill Carter. The guy's a beast. I like him. I think Boy Mafe, I believe that's what his name is. He's a senior, and I've seen a lot of good plays from him. He's number 34, which is interesting, but I guess that's how we'll do it. But, I got the Gophs winning a little bit close, 24-21. I think they pull it off. Nebraska gets a late touchdown, and then we hold them off. So, hopefully. I hope so.
Real quick.
Yeah.
That Bowling Green loss, in my mind, that is the worst loss in Gopher history, at least that I know. Agree or no?
Well, here's the thing. The one against NDSU that 1 year with Brewster, that one's pretty high up there.
That one's more.
Wait. Now that I'm remembering, the Iowa game. At the Dome, they get slaughtered 55-0. I think that one's a little bit more. I mean, at least they were in the game. Don't get me wrong. Tanner Morgan was terrible in that game, but against Bowling Green. But that one against Iowa, that one was painful.
Real quick, I want to make a side point on that.
Okay.
And make my case. That is the worst loss in Gophers history in my mind. It may be close with some other ones that may.
Oh, it's up there. It's top. I mean, it's top 5, top 3 even. Yeah.
But if you take into account the opponent that you were facing, Bowling Green, I believe it was they hadn't won a non-conference game in multiple years. Mm-hmm. Multiple years they hadn't won a game. This is like the bottom of the MAC level
bottom
team.
Of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel as far as FBS schools go. You're talking about losing to NDSU back in the day. Trust me, I grew up in North Dakota. I got NDSU fans. I hear about that all the time. Still not that bad. NDSU would have beat Bowling Green by at least 2 scores.
Oh, sure.
If not, probably
even more.
Probably even more. That is the worst loss I've ever seen in my life. It is embarrassing. It is terrible. It could end up ruining their season. It could end up stopping them from being one of the top-ranked teams that they can go on a run. It maybe stop them from even being ranked. Mm-hmm. So it is... with the situation surrounding that game, I think that is the worst loss in Gophers history.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it like that, but it was bad. Don't get me wrong, it was bad. All right. We end the ARA with this with the Kyrie situation. Now, obviously, I think people have noticed what has been going on with that. Kyrie not willing to get vaccinated. He wants to be the voice for the voiceless. He wants to, he just wants to prove that you don't have to listen to mandates, things like that. The guy is completely off his rocker, and he's been completely off his rocker since, I'd probably say, when he left Cleveland. And I say that because it's true, and I have a very big opinion on this whole thing. But Cole, Zoners, absurd or approved, the Nets taking a stand against Kyrie's vaccine status. Okay, so he's only limited to do so many things now since he's not getting vaccinated. And to add on to that, they don't plan on extending him, which is interesting too. So, Cole, absurd or approved, the Nets taking a stand against Kyrie's vaccine status.
I would say approved. Now, this one can go either way. Kyrie, don't get me wrong. He is a top talent in the league. He is one of the best point guards in the league. Has arguably the best handle in the history of basketball. But you cannot have this distraction going into the year. You can't have it where he's only showing up half the games. You can't have it where it's just hanging over his head and you guys are getting asked questions about it on a nightly basis. To build a championship level team, you cannot have that level of drama going on all the time in this day and age. So I gotta say approved for the Brooklyn Nets, even though they're losing a top end talent. You can't go into the year with that many headaches for Kyrie. It blows my mind about some of the decisions he's made and some of the stuff he's said, but yeah, you got to do what you got to do to build a championship contender.
It's got my stamp of approval, and I've said this on a couple or many occasions too. I don't understand, and this is just my opinion, and some people may have, and I don't. If you don't plan to get vaccinated, I won't judge you, but I believe people should be vaccinated. Just based on the science, people. Okay. Now, piggybacking off that, with Kyrie, he's done some weird stuff, like some weird deals here. And Kyrie said some weird stuff too. He sometimes, you wonder what he's thinking, right? You wonder, Kyrie said that. What is he thinking? What is he trying to do here? And in this instance, he's trying to be the voice for the voiceless. But he hasn't gone out publicly to express why he's not doing that. Why? Tell us. I mean, obviously with the Nets and there's not going any Nets and Kyrie. It's not going well because you don't want a needle in the arm. Not only to protect other people, protect yourself, but other people. Why? What do you gain out of this, Kyrie, is my question. And off that, too, you signed up to play basketball. You signed a contract. You signed a contract to play basketball. You brought in Kevin Durant. You brought in James Harden. You brought in these other guys to win a championship, right? Well, guess what? Look where you're at now. You're throwing that all away because you don't want a needle in the arm. You don't want to get the vaccine. You're trying to be the voice for the voiceless. Well, then be the voice for the voiceless. Don't sit there and think, well, all these reports are saying this, and this, and this. You are putting yourself in a precarious position. And the Nets, they don't want to extend you. Well, I mean, Kyrie is completely lost it. He has completely lost it in this sense. And Kyrie needs to understand that it's not about Kyrie. It's not all about Kyrie. It's about your team. It's about protecting other people. It's protecting everyone around the world. We're still in a pandemic here, people. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm under the firm belief that you need to be vaccinated. The fact that Kyrie won't do that he's putting other people at risk, and it's a shame. It really is a shame. It's a shame. But it's got my stamp of approval with the Nets taking a stand against him and saying, listen, buddy, get it or don't play. Okay? Yeah. I mean, it's that simple. And there's only certain things he can do. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The mandate, you can only do this, and this. I mean, to be honest, just get the needle in the arm and go win yourself a championship. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do. That's my opinion. Yeah. Real quick, go.
Real quick. First off, round of applause to Kyrie. He finessed the system because I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid for this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can hate on the guy all we want.
I've been here the whole time.
He just finessed the system for like $28 million to sit at home and play Fortnite. So, I mean, props to you. Yeah. Props to you, sir. But yeah, I echo pretty much everything you said there. I personally believe you should get vaccinated. It's for the betterment of the community. It's not only on yourself at this point. There's people out there that cannot get the vaccination that need your help to be able to protect themselves from the disease. So unless if you have like a prior condition, which you cannot get the vaccination, I personally believe that you should get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, one thing I'm going to add to this, and then we'll wrap it up here. Their GM said, Sean Marks said, if he was vaccinated, we wouldn't be having this discussion. I think that's probably pretty clear.
Yep.
Jeez, it's just some people and it's probably the frustration too with Zim and the Vikings too is people won't get vaxxed. So, and especially Cousins, and I'm sure he wanted to wring Cousins' neck, and that's sense of the word, but that's just it's a personal decision. It's not a hard decision, people. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, that'll do it for ARA this week. Obviously, we don't have Shield shoutouts this week, but Cole, did you have something to close the show here for us?
Well, so I kind of touched on this beforehand, but congratulations to Greg Joseph. I mean, the dude's been brought through the absolute ringer for weeks now. And he made 2 huge kicks for the Vikings this week.
Yeah.
2 of them. A 54 or a 55-yard field goal to give them a bit of a cushion. And then the game-winning field goal. The 54-yard game-winning field goal. That's right. The Vikings kicked a game-winning field goal.
Yay!
It is an absolute miracle. Now, maybe don't carry your kicker off on your shoulders on a last-second field goal against an 0-5 Lions team. This is not a Rudy moment here. We don't need to be going that far. But simply put, congratulations to Greg Joseph. Congrats on getting the monkey off your back. Congratulations on hitting a big kick. Huge step in Vikings history right there, finally making an important kick.
Thank God. Thank God. Claps all around for Greg Joseph. But we're happy about it. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, anyway, with that, that'll do it for just kidding. That's not the end there. But Voldy will be back. Yeah, I got you. So, anyway, before we get going, zoners, make sure to get your picks done. That means you, Munson. Make sure you get your picks done for the pick'em, and not only that, but make sure if you're thinking, I don't, I'm not in the pick'em, but I want to help out the guys because I want to make sure that their internet and stuff, for the show, is kept up. How can I do that, DJ Matt? Well, there's a couple things you can do. We have shirts, 5 out of 5 stars, $20, $5 shipping, all that fun stuff. Okay, it helps us keep Ecamm going for you guys, so we can bring you a show all the time. And then if you're thinking, well, maybe a little bit cheaper because I like the price, but I kind of want something more here. Well, we've got stickers, people, bumper stickers, mini bumper stickers, regular stickers, window decals, all that fun stuff. $2 for the small ones, $3 for the big ones. We can help you out with that. And then hats we're still working on the hats, and sweatshirts should be coming back here soon as well. So we'll keep you informed on that. And shout out to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knudsen for the stickers as well. All right, and then also check out W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds podcast. Will Rattel, our guy Will Rattel, posting more videos, having more fun as well. He's got some awesome videos, so if you guys haven't checked it out, check it out now. He's got stickers. They're only $2 as well, so make sure you talk to Will. He'll get you set up. All right, check out Jack's Junkyard as well, now with Apparel, doing a great job as well. He's on the TikToks now with Jack O'Keefe. And then Breaking Into the League podcast, Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you guys check them out as well. So anyway, Cole, with that, thanks for coming on. Great time as always. I love talking Wolves. I love talking all that stuff. Even ripping you on Ricky Rubio, which get to at another time as well. So we'll definitely get to that at some point. But appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you on again soon because the Wolf season, something's gonna happen.
Matt. Thanks for having me on.
You know it, my guy. But anyway, without further ado, folks, keep in the zone.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.